In this video, we're going to be farming Viessa. This can be faster or slower depending on your stage of progress within the first Ascendant. The easiest part to get is the Viessa code, which drops from the Caligo Ossuary. So if we look at this, you'll see that her code is one of the drops from the Material Pattern 30. In fact, you're probably going to get this while you're trying to farm up Sharon, which is kind of useful because that means we're doing two things at once. I always love it when we're doing two things at once. Which is what leads me to the next part of the farming method for Viessa. You can probably get Viessa a little bit earlier that I'm going to recommend here, but it's probably going to be best if you have access to hard mode, mostly because we want to be able to farm the shards nice and easily. So as you can see, we get like one of each on this non-attribute one here. Hard mode will get considerably more, and it really isn't any longer or that much difficult to do this, and you can do it straight from Kingston as soon as you get to hard mode, which is really useful. That's because what we're going to do is we're going to farm Viessa's parts from the recon missions, and that requires us to be able to open up the reactors. We'll go through how we're going to get the immortal parts first, and then we'll go through the 3 different reactors that you need to use to get those parts. Your rotation should approximately look like this. You want to start out by heading to Vespers, where you'll want to fast travel into the Lost Supply Depot and head to the Vulgus Strategic Outpost that you can see on screen right now. That's going to be position number 1. After that, you should head to Sterile Land. When you're here, you want to head over to the classified area. Come to the fast travel point you can see on screen right now. Head on along the top, jump on down, and you'll be able to attack the Vulgus Strategic Outpost right there. And lastly, we need to head over to White Knight Gulch, where you'll want to head to the shipment base. You'll jump on over the rock here and to the Vulgus Strategic Outpost on screen right now. Obviously, if you start opening Amorphous during it, or you need to kind of fill in blanks, this can change. You're going to want to start out in Vespers, over to the supply depot. Then you immediately want to check your map, okay? You can see this one's already on cooldown, and these people are waiting for it, which is actually mega inefficient. Because there are going to be multiple servers of this, and they're actually spoiling this for everybody else. Because they're keeping the server up waiting. If they just left, this server would be emptied, and then a new one would come with no cooldown. So if you're in this kind of situation, we'll just move on to the next one, to Sterile Land, where we want to head to the classified area. This one has 3-minute cooldown, so we're going to move on again to the shipment base, where we find we don't have a timer. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to do that one. A couple of tips for this. First, I'm doing this in open right now because I don't really have anyone else to do it with me, and some of them can be a little bit difficult. We should be fine. Something that works is if you switch it to private, you'll be given your own instance of the game. So therefore, if you have friends that'll go around with you, that will be actually more efficient because you can switch around. You will actually retain your own timers, which means that you will have to find something else to do in between the rotations, because rotating all 3 of these is going to take you about 2 to 3 minutes, probably not even that. So the recommendation would be, after you've cleared each one of the outposts, head over to one of the void fragments that drops the relevant materials, and then you can farm those whilst you wait for your cooldowns, which is what we did during the live stream. These should be pretty simple. This one's going to be the hardest one, so I'll probably take a lot of damage here. But all we need to do is break all of the power units. The enemies actually don't really matter until the boss. If you can stand to get shot at a little bit, that's going to be helpful to you. Deal with the boss. That pretty much takes all of the enemies out and gives you a chance at dropping one of the amorphous materials that we're going to need. Make sure that you come in and grab the materials that the bosses drop, and you want to rotate those 3 until you have around 4 of each of the amorphous materials that we need. So the amorphous numbers, just in case you're interested, are 034, 014, and 008. But so long as you're running these 3 missions, you will be fine. So here's a good tip that works for me really, really well. If you find you're coming across a lot of timers, something that helps really, really well is if you come into the next map, switch this to private and do the next rotation in private. So if I come over to shipment building right here, get this one done. Then after that, we fast travel back. We'll find that the timer has gone all the way down. So we won't have a timer anymore because we've switched to a personal server, which you can see right there. The thing about this is we can run this now as a private server, so we'll do like 1 rotation and then switch back to public. So that takes us off of our own private timer, because those timers will stick with you in your own private kind of iteration of the game. Doing it this way will mean that you definitely get 1 solid run every couple of minutes, which is just obviously ideal for farming up all of the amorphous materials that we need. And then, of course, when we switch back around, we'll switch to public so that we don't need to wait for our own timer anymore, which is just kind of handy. And after a relatively small amount of time, should have something like this. We got 4 008s, I got 2 34s, and I got 5 14s. That took me about 40 minutes. So if I call that an hour, the only one I'm a bit down on is the O34. That's fine. I can go get some more of those in a bit, but I want to get this video finished. So now we need to talk about where we open up all of the different amorphous materials. So of course, we very briefly touched on Caligo Ossuary right at the very beginning of the video, so we could get the main blueprint item. That is obviously going to get opened as one of the bosses. The amorphous 18 opens up by defeating the executioner. If you're at this point, this should be very simple for you, but 6% chance, so you're going to need quite a few of those just to get the code. But once that's all done, you'll be fine to continue with the rest of the video. So from here, we're going to need the shards to open up the fusion reactors, which is why I suggested that hard mode would be a good idea, because that means we can come over to Kingston, stick it on hard, and then we're going to run the very basic void fragment that we have just over this way. I don't think I need to teach you how these work, so we're just going to go to activate this, and we're going to grind up a load of shards so that we can open up a load of the fusion reactors. Looks like somebody else is already doing it as well, which is absolutely perfect for me. Should make things lovely. Alright, now that we've gone ahead and we've farmed some shards, we can start opening some of the amorphous relics so that we can start actually getting some VSA parts. We're going to start in the sterile land. Let me zoom out a little bit here. Of course, we did some farming up in the classified area. We're at pretty much the opposite end, and we're coming to the sterile land fusion reactor just in the south here. That's in the restricted zone. All we'll do with these, if you haven't used one yet, is we walk up. It's going to be a bit of a boss battle, so these early ones shouldn't be too much of an issue. The later game one is a little bit tougher, but we should be okay. Once you defeat the boss, much like with the other big bosses, we are now able to open one of our amorphous materials. The cool thing about this is only one person needs to spend the resource to open this. So if you're doing this with friends, you can actually multiply the work that you're putting in. Obviously, I failed at that one. Let's go ahead, we'll have another go. So if you've got like 3 or 4 friends, you can do this as a group. This is going to be much more time efficient and easier to do. So I do recommend doing that if you can do that at all. Would be nice to get one to drop, wouldn't it, eh? Come on now. And there we have it. That is how we farm the VSA parts. So that's the first one. I'll show you guys where the next reactor is. Just let me clear these guys out. The next one is actually in the same zone that we farmed one in. We need to go to the Vesper's Lost supply depot. So we're going to be going up to the north here. So here we are. Same again. Hopefully I've got enough shards to keep on opening these. Getting a little harder, as you can see. Get in there for that. See if I'm lucky. I've got plenty of shards. Material, I should say. Yes, there we go. Bam. And then for the final one, we need to head back to White Gulch. We need to go to the observatory this time. So this is going to be this one right here. So let's get on over there. Again, I haven't counted my shards, so hopefully the shards will be enough. Yeah, looks like we've got to activate. This one's pretty tough, actually. After the boss battle, we're now able to interact with the final reconstruction device and pray that I get this for the roll. Then I don't have to do loads more farming. Nope. But that is how we get all the parts. As you can see, I'll keep on rinse and repeating this. I only have one part left to get. Hope that helps you guys out, and I'll catch you all in the next video.